He, of course, is a business professor. He is a speaker. He is an author. But more importantly, he's mastered this course that's called Creativity and Personal Mastery. We'll talk about that one. But more importantly, my friends, according to me, he's life's version of MBA. What's MBA? For me, it is mind, belief, and action. He puts all these three together. It is my complete honor to have with me Dr. Srikumar Rao. Vanakkam, namaste from India. Welcome to Chennai Live, sir. How are you?
Namaste, Rajiv. It's my pleasure to be with you. And what a rollicking introduction that was.
Well,
I'm
it
very much looking
basically
forward to our conversation. Let's make
it's
it a
my excitement.
conversation. I'm
It's
not going to
complete
talk.
excitement to meet the person I have loved, learned, and admired. To be very honest with you, Dr. Srikumar Rao, I treat this as a great honor to spend a few minutes with you, and I know I can grasp all that I want, ask you all that I want. Thank you very much, sir. It's a complete honor to have you on Chennai Live. Thank you.
My pleasure, Rajiv.
Dr. Srikumar Rao, you're known for this mastery class, creativity and personal mastery. We'll start with that because that has transformed the lives of zillions of people. Zillions of
That is
people.
accurate.
We
Yes.
speak about creativity. We speak about personal mastery. My biggest question to you, sir, is where's logic in this? Either you're a creative person or you're a logical person. Where's logic in all of this? And can creativity be learned? Or is that a gift that is given?
It is both, Rajiv. And what makes you think that creativity is not logical? That is the first step that you have to overcome.
Sure.
Also understand that logic is a straitjacket, and that means that it will help you achieve a lot. But ultimately, what happens is you have to transcend logic, and especially you have to transcend your logical thinking mind
Mm.
before you achieve the ultimate. And I'm sure we'll get into this as we progress through our conversation.
Oh. So tell me about this, creativity and personal mastery. In your course that's transformed so many people, who's this for? And how does one say, I need it? Because today the problem with the world is split into two. There are a group of people who, no matter what they achieve, they feel very unsatisfied. They feel we're still not okay, whether it's the money, whether it's the fame, the name, the car you have, the house you have, the social credentials that you have, you still feel not enough. And there's also a group of people who believe I'm the best. No matter what I am, my life is perfect, can't get better. So who knows I need to be a student of this course?
The short answer to that, Rajiv, is everybody. But not everybody recognizes that this is what they really need. And let me explain by that. There are some people who, as you say, have achieved a great deal and somehow they feel a lack in their life. There are other persons who have not achieved a great deal, may not even have achieved anything as an external, as the world would say. And they are hungering because they want to achieve. And there are people who think, I have it all. But even the people who say, I have it all, there are times at night when there is nobody around, when it all seems, what is life about? What have I achieved? Is this what I really want? And the point is, some are driven to say, this is unsatisfactory. I am not going to stand for it. And there are others who go through such moments and simply ignore it and busy themselves. And they busy themselves in frenetic activity. Because think about how you and how so many people are busy doing things to avoid confronting their mind and questions like you have just raised. How often do you turn on the television? Not because there's something you really want to watch, but yeah, let's see what's there. It's a method to get away from being with yourself. So, if you recognize that what you're doing is this, you're trying to drown out something that is expressing itself, but you are not willing to listen or not able to listen, then you do need the course. But most people probably the majority of people never recognize what is happening internally, so they will not, even if offered the chance, they will not take it. That's just the way it is, and that's fine.
You said that so beautifully. When you can't ask yourself the question, when you can't speak to yourself, you don't want to hear your own answers. That's when you look for diversion, distraction, and you become
Correct.
a destructive person. Is that the reason social media and your mobile phone is so popular? Because your mind is diverted and no one's asking you anything. Is that the reason social media is your friend and your foe?
Absolutely, yes. The short answer is yes. We've always had diversion.
Hmm.
What social media does is it makes it easier and gives you many more different ways to divert your mind. It's enormously destructive.
So we started off, or I started off by saying MBA because I've read your books, I have heard your podcast, very inspiring, mind, belief, and action. In different ways, you speak about this. Let's start with the M. Let's start not M for money, but something more precious, the mind, sir. We start with the mind. What is the mind? And today, why is everybody talking about mind? It's been with the human being since eternity. Why has mind become a topic today? Has mind become more powerful, more distractive, weaker? What is with the mind today, and what is the mind, sir?
All right. Let me begin with why it is so important today. In India, we have an analogy, and many people have used it. Ramakrishna used it, Vivekananda used it. Imagine a monkey. And what you do is you get that monkey drunk. And after you got that monkey drunk, a scorpion bites it. That's what your mind is like. It's constantly all over the place. Today, you can add something else. In addition to the scorpion biting it, you've given it some good psychedelics like maybe a gram of LSD.
The modern people will understand this better. Yeah.
They
Like,
will understand.
I know how it
So the
feels.
monkey is there jumping up all over the place,
Hmm,
and it will not let you be. In my book, I have an analogy,
hmm.
and let me share that if with your permission. In the last 24 hours, how often have you thought about your left little finger? Okay,
Never.
got the answer. In the last 24 hours, you have not thought about your left little finger. Perhaps you had to polish the nail or clip it. If so, your attention was on it for a few seconds, and then you went on. Because when your left little finger does what left little fingers are supposed to do, it functions quietly in the background and doesn't draw attention to itself. Now, supposing somebody had slammed the car door on your left little finger, would it be fair to say you'd be thinking about it
All the
all the
time.
time? It would draw your attention to it unrelentingly, and that's because it's sick, it's unwell. If your mind was functioning healthily, it would tick away in the background doing what you set it to do. Say, hey, go solve this mathematical problem or whatever, and we do it quietly and not bother you. But look at what your mind is constantly doing. It's drawing attention to itself. What does she really think about me? We had a good date. Should I call her? Should I wait for her to call me? Oh, yeah, this is distracting. Let me go have some coffee. Oh, Brast, I really shouldn't have coffee. I said I won't. One little cup won't hurt. Let me go do that. Think about how it's constantly drawing attention to yourself. It compares you to others. Your show only has 1 million listeners. This guy, he's got 10 million listeners, and he's actually got 15 million followers on Twitter. Why are you behind? What is he doing better? Can you learn from him? Oh, no, no. He panders to the lowest common denominator. I'm not like that. Think about how all of this is going on all the time in your
Time.
head. Your mind is nothing but an unceasing flow of thoughts. Incredible number of thoughts, unbelievable number of thoughts. But as Ramana Maharshi, and Ramana Maharshi is the Indian sage who's had a bigger impact on me than any other individual, as he said, look into the mind, inquire what the mind is. And like the wedding guest in my book, you'll find the mind does not exist. See how the mind is constantly stirring you outside. What do they think of me? I am hungry. Let me eat something. Will this podcast be well received? What can I do to make it the number one, for all outside? But if you inquire inside, as Ramana Maharshi postulates, who is having these thoughts? Then you'll find, if you follow the inquiry, there is no one, there is no mind. And when there is no mind, you realize that you are none of the things that you thought you were. Your nature is pure awareness. Aham Brahmasmi. That's who you are. But now it's not an intellectual concept, it is a lived reality.
Superb. That was so well said. I remember the little finger thing. It comes in the opening of your book. This little
Yes.
finger analogy that you said. Beautiful. And of course, your latest book, Modern Wisdom, Ancient Truths. It's got such lovely chapters. It's got such wonderful philosophy, stories, learnings, lessons. We'll come to that in a bit. But Dr. Srikumar Rao, we've always heard that everyone's life is so different. The way you look at life, what you want from life, what you think is success, what you think is happiness, is different for you, is different for me. You might be doing your duty now, and I'm living a celebration right now by talking to you. But my bigger question, which I would like you to shed some light on, is if lives are so different, why should the mind be the same for everybody? Because eventually your mind, the way you think, I think, is different. And through the courses of life, Dr. Srikumar Rao, when I'm a schoolboy, I think differently. I want different things. When I grow, as I age, as I learn, as I get product and people's satisfaction, maybe my mind changes. That's experience. So is it one mind for all, or everyone's mind, just mind your own? What is it?
Everyone's mind is different, and not only is everyone's mind different, your mind is different, and you don't even have to age. It's not when Rajiv was 5 years old and what Rajiv is today. What Rajiv is this morning is going to be different from what Rajiv is this evening. Mind is fickle, it is chanchala, its nature is change. Don't try to analyze your mind, transcend your mind. The mind is always going to be changing. The one thing that you're sure it will do is it will drag you outward and tie you up in a thicket that it constructs. It is your job if you want to be free of sorrow. We are all stuck in this web of illusion. This is what we call samsara,
Hmm.
and we're all stuck in that. The objective is to get out of samsara, and the thing that is keeping us stuck in samsara is the mind. And the mind does not really exist, and it is your job to inquire until the mind drops. And when that happens, you will realize your true nature. When Uddalaka told Shvetaketu, Tattvamasi Shvetaketu, that is reality. That is what you have to focus on. And if your intent is sincere, you will find the way there.
What a philosophy from a business professor. When we look at business, we think about an idea, innovation, implementation, profits, people, products, service. Here comes Dr. Srikumar Rao, who has a different take on life and has his own teachings. What is business, the reality of life taught you? They'd say, Dr. Srikumar Rao, this is wonderful philosophy. I love what you say. It's great to do first thing in the morning and last thing in the night. What do I do for the rest of the day? How do I earn? How do I live? How do I make sure my children get education? How do I make sure that my spouse is happy? So, is this a lifestyle, life thought, or just products or thoughts that you split through your day? Can you tell me that, sir?
You cannot split through the day.
Hmm.
You do not have a business life and a personal life. You have one life.
Hmm.
All these distinctions are totally artificial. I have a coaching business.
Yeah.
I am an elite coach. Most of my clients are entrepreneurs and a few are senior executives. They all want to make a dent in the universe. They want to have outsized impact. They also have an explicit spiritual path. They know that life is not all about gathering the biggest toys and the most toys. And generally, there is a feeling I can sit down and meditate 8 hours and grow spiritually, or I can become a business titan. And my job is to show them it's not or, it's and.
And okay.
Becoming a business titan is your spiritual path. In my view, being an entrepreneur, having a business is the Swiss Army knife of tools. The only thing you ever do in life, Rajiv, is you work on yourself. The universe is benevolent. It's given you many tools. It's given you a wife, perhaps, children. It's given you your parents, given you friends, given you the show that you are a host of. All of these are tools. You use them as skillfully as you can. You want to be as good a husband as you can. You want to be as wise a parent, as a loving a parent as you can. But in the process of trying to be that, what you are really doing is you're working on yourself. The only thing you ever do in life is you work on yourself. You can do this with awareness or you can do it mechanically, but that's the only thing you ever do. So when you realize that that is the only thing you ever do, you recognize that you're fortunate to have a business, because the business is the Swiss Army knife of all tools. It'll tell you so many different ways in which you screw up, in which you get stuck, in which your ego gets in the way, in which there is self-aggrandizement. And each one of these is a lesson for you to learn. So being a business person is fantastic. There is no conflict whatsoever between living a spiritual life and going on and between running your business. In fact, you'll be even more successful.
Very well said. So there is spirituality in everything. It depends on your perception, your understanding, the way you look at your life and your situation. Is that right, sir?
That is absolutely correct. Yes.
Talking about spirituality, talking about lessons and learnings and philosophies, your latest book is not just a book, sir. It's a life book. It teaches you life. And no matter what age, no matter what stage, no matter what rage you are in, if you read this book, I think you understand how simple life is. But why have
Yes.
we complicated it so much? You ask yourself this. And that's the book which I've read and I recommend everyone to read. You have a list of 70 plus book recommendations. I know that, but I'll recommend this one very strongly, Dr. Srikumar Rao. Modern Wisdom, Ancient Roots. Before we go into the chapters and people who influenced you and why you actually modernized the wisdom, I noticed one thing: all the wordings or all the philosophies are of ancient gurus worldwide, not just Indian, around the
Yes.
world, global
Absolutely.
icons.
Yes.
When technology is modern, concepts are modern, communication is modern, why are there no modern gurus? Why are there no modern philosophies, modern thoughts, modern wisdom? Where's that? Where's that? Where have we lost that? We've got the best brains now. Why do we live with their thoughts today and our thoughts are maybe invalid? Is it so?
No, it's their thoughts. We say that they're thoughts, but actually it's not their thoughts, because the sages are timeless. They don't belong to a time, they don't belong to a geography, they don't belong to a culture, and they don't belong to a nation. They are the universal resources. It just so happens that in India, we have been blessed to have a large number of enlightened beings who have given us priceless truths.
Mm.
But they enunciated those truths in language and used examples that were appropriate to the time and geography that they were in. And quite likely, persons in a modern post industrial society don't relate to that.
Yeah.
So I've simply taken that and given it a different suit of clothes. I'm a translator. These are not my ideas. These were enunciated by people incomparably wiser and more accomplished, and they were enlightened beings.
Maybe understood life a lot more simpler and
Oh,
cared for
complete.
people in a very different way to pass on their wisdom, their ideas, and their learnings.
So I've simply taken that, as I said, and adapted them so that they're more intelligible and acceptable to modern people. So I'm a translator.
Did
I
anyone
think I'm
ask
a
you, do
good
you have
translator.
copyrights? Did anyone in today's modern world, do you have copyrights to use what they said? Did you get into a legal tussle, doctor?
They waived copyright, my friend.
Sir, today when we look back, we're looking at these ancient gurus, Ramana Maharishi, and many, many more, as you have pointed out in the book. 40, 50, 100, 200, 300, 500 years later, will we be looking back at the same people that you and me are looking back at? Or will there be modern ideas, modern people, modernized concepts? Will that change? Or, like you said, timeless?
The concepts will not change,
Mm,
Raji,
mm,
because there is no change in your essential nature.
mm,
It is entirely likely that the clothing will
mm,
change, and there are any number of highly evolved souls all around us,
mm,
and some we recognize and some we don't. Some choose to become known and some don't. Some are mighty beacons like Ramana Maharshi and Nisargadatta Maharaj, and some might be, your aunt who is very self-effacing and
Don't
nobody
talk
knows.
about my aunt. It's not a good topic. Dr. Srikumar Rao, I'll tell you one thing. You say all these great names. I'm pretty sure today's modern youth, let me put myself in that category, we use your name because the language that you speak in, the concepts that you bring out, the lifestyle that you relate to talks to us. And we understand that this is exactly what we're going through. And we'd like to understand, adapt, learn from what you are saying. So we understand you a lot better than the ancient gurus as well, right?
Yes.
Because you
Hmm.
modernize the way you're speaking in today's situation. Now, you have a lot of ancient philosophies that you brought to light. Let me put you on this chair of awareness, as you call it, where you know your back, the leather, the thigh, everything you know where you're sitting
Yes.
on. Let me ask you, what are your three philosophies that you completely abide by? And what is the one philosophy on the other side? You try to imply, but it's not logical. It's not possible. It's famous. It's accepted, but not applicable.
I'll narrow it down. It's not three philosophies, it's only one philosophy, Rajiv.
Okay.
And it's not even a philosophy, this
Mm,
is revealed truth.
mm,
And that is, you mentioned it early when you were introducing me. We do not live a real life. We think we live a real life. We don't. We live in a construct. It's as if every one of us were in the matrix. Only this is not a matrix constructed by an alien civilization out to enslave us. It's a matrix that we have constructed with our mental chatter and our mental models. We create the world that we live in, and then we experience it as we have created it. And the vast majority of us are totally unaware that we created the world we live in. Now, if this is true, then it's very liberating, because if you created the world you live in and you don't like it, you can deconstruct the parts of it that you don't like and build it over again and again and again. It's the rest of your life process. That's what my course is all about. But ultimately, you're coming down to what is the one philosophy. The one philosophy is all of this is fiction. All of this is mithya. All of this is an illusion. We are stuck in the illusion and we believe it is true. And I'm going to prove that to you right now, Rajiv. Look, supposing I were to meet you at a cocktail party and we're having casual conversation, and I say, "Hey, Rajiv, who are you?" I say, "Oh, I live in Chennai and I've got this show called Chennai Live and it reaches so many viewers and I really want to make it bigger. And, I have dreams. I want to make it a YouTube channel that's gone viral. I want to have it the number one spot in Instagram. And there are these new things like Signal and so on popping up. And I really want to dominate them, etc.,
mm,
etc., etc." But Rajiv, do you go to sleep? And sometimes when you go to sleep, you dream. And in your dream, you are King Ashoka, and you really want to get Kalinga under your control, and you launch a massive war, and many people die, and you are heartbroken, and you become a Buddhist, and then you go to deep sleep, and there's nothing. There's no Rajiv, there's no Ashoka, there's nothing, right? This is your own direct experience, correct?
Mm.
Now, however, when I'm talking to you in a cocktail party and ask who you are, you say, I'm Rajiv and so on. You never say, some of the time I'm Rajiv and occasionally I'm Ashoka, and sometimes I just seem to slip into.
Nothing.
You don't even think of saying that, right?
Yeah.
That's the fundamental misconception. You're taking a part of your existence and saying this is real and this is all of it. But it is your own direct experience that it is not. We are so wrapped up in what is outside with one tiny part of what we experience, and we rigidly hold on and say that is it. No, that is not it. That is it. But Rajiv being Ashoka is also it. And Rajiv going into a deep sleep where there is nothing is
Well,
also it. What is it that is there all the time? Let's define real as that which always is. Got that? Fair enough? So if real is that which always is, then Rajiv is not real because it's your own direct experience. Rajiv comes and he goes. Ashoka is not real. He comes, he goes. So what is real? What is real is the knowledge that you exist. Because when you wake up from deep sleep, do you have to ask someone else, hey, was I there? Did I sleep? You know. You don't have to ask anyone. That awareness is your essential nature. That is Satchidananda. That is who you are. Aham Brahmasmi. Tattvamasi Shwete Ketu. That is who you really are. But you misidentify. I am Rajiv. In your dream, you are Ashoka. And boy, when you kill so many, or your army kills so many people, you really feel the pain. And when you are struck with a sword, you feel the blow. It is real as long as you're Ashoka. Equally, just as you were in a dream, you're in a dream now. You call it a waking state, but it's every bit a dream. When do you recognize that you're dreaming? When you wake up. So, what Ramana Maharshi and all the sages are telling us is if you want an end to your suffering, what you have to do is wake up. And that's when you realize that there is only Brahman, there is nothing else. All of this is Maya.
wow, pinch me. Am I sleeping now? Am I awake now? Wow, that took me on a journey of life. It wasn't me. It was me. It was King Ashoka. It was nothing, but it was everything. That was the
Yes,
beauty of this entire journey.
this is a rest of your life journey.
Yeah. And you said this during the
Maybe many
course.
lifetimes, who knows?
You said this during the course of the conversation, saying that all you're doing is working on yourself. And it's a
Yes,
never ending process, right?
yes.
Eventually, by the time you realize or you come to an end, you're still a masterpiece, but an incomplete masterpiece. Correct? Yeah. So Dr. Srikumar Rao, as we move on, you're very popular amidst the youth, amidst the youngsters. Today, if you were to define the youth of today, the most focused, the most ambitious, the most courageous, the most achieving, would you see that as what the youth is? Or do you see them to be highly depressed, highly unsatisfied, highly irrational, not focused? Define today's youth for me.
I can't do that, Rajiv,
Mm.
because I don't have experience. I've read news reports of both of those. The people who I know and I come across are very intelligent, very spiritually oriented, highly driven, want to make a tremendous impact on the universe. But that is the population which is attracted to what I do. So they self select, and that's who I come in contact with. And the good news is that there seem to be many, many, many of them, and the number seems to be increasing. But what percentage are they of the total population and how
Wouldn't.
representative they are? I don't have a clue. You will have a better idea of that.
I have a better idea, and the best person who will give me ideations is you. You will give me directions to go and get that idea, Dr. Srikumar Rao. We spoke about MBA, mind we spoke, belief we spoke about what is the reality of life. Let's talk about actions also, Dr. Srikumar Rao. Today, the problem is we all know what's right, but we don't do what's right.
Mhm.
Right. So, can you imply or tell us these are certain acts? If one implies, your day becomes better, your life becomes happier, your relationship becomes sweeter, life becomes easier. So, give us the actions that you think right from the morning, the time you wake up, to the time you go to bed, to what you eat, to what you think.
Get up in the morning and make a conscious decision that you are going to have a fantastic day. That's all it takes to make every day a fabulous day. See, we make a mistake, Rajiv, and the mistake we make is the following. We think that in order to have a fabulous day, two things should happen.
Hmm.
One, stuff should happen that I want to have happen. And two, stuff should not happen that I don't want to have happen. Neither of that is under our control or ever will be. And in any case, what does that have to do with your having a fabulous day? So you will, being a smart person, recognize I'm going to have a fabulous day. And in my fabulous day, shit is going to fall from the sky. So I'm going to plan to spend a couple of hours cleaning up the shit that will inevitably fall from the sky. And I'm going to have a fabulous time doing it. And when you do that, you'll find that every day is fabulous.
Hmm.
We work so hard at controlling the universe and making it conform to what we would like it to be. The universe does not conform to you. So, by all means, try your level best to make the universe the way that you would like it to be, but recognize that ultimately it is not under your control and you don't just accept what happens, you embrace it fully. Let's say you go to the temple, Rajiv, and the priest gives you some prasada. What do?
Very happy. You take it, collect it.
Accept it gratefully, correct? This is prasada. You don't say, oh no, this is mango, I want banana.
Hmm.
No, this is prasada. You accept it gratefully. Then, if you want mango, you see if you can purchase it in the bazaar or something else. But when prasada is given to you, you accept it
You
gratefully.
accept it without questioning, gracefully.
Exactly. Treat life the same way. Life is giving you stuff that you experience. Accept it gratefully. By all means, try to make changes, but make changes from the place of grateful acceptance, not from the place of resentment. I got banana and I wanted mango, or I wanted mango and I got banana.
Not revenge and resent, but gratitude and acceptance.
Gratitude and from that space make, and when you do that, you will find that you're so much more effective in trying to engineer the changes that you want. And whatever changes you can't, that is prasada. You accept it and then you move on from there. It's a very simple philosophy, but boy, don't underestimate its power.
You are the priest, Dr. Srikumar Rao. You're the one giving us what the universe is actually sharing us. You're making sure it comes to our brains and our heart. But Dr. Srikumar Rao, they always say, it's a very famous saying that, if you truly want something, the universe conspires to help you achieve it. I'm sure that's also ancient wisdom in different languages spoken. Sometimes for some people, the universe is very friendly, gives you very easily. For sometimes the universe is very strict. I will test you. Do you really deserve it? Sometimes the universe is very angry. I'm not listening to you. You don't talk nicely. Why is the universe behaving differently for different people? If you
It is
claim
not.
universe is friendly.
It is not. And actually, it's not something I claimed. It was a question posed by Einstein before I was born. Now, we revere Einstein as a great scientist, and he was. He discovered or formulated the theory of relativity. He discovered the photoelectric effect, for which he got the Nobel Prize, by the way. He didn't get the Nobel Prize for the theory of relativity. But Einstein was a philosopher, also a philosopher, and had a very deep understanding of the way the world works.
Mm.
And he said the most important question you will ever ask yourself is the universe friendly?
Mm.
Let me repeat that. The most important question you will ever ask yourself is the universe friendly? Now, many of us believe the universe is exactly as you described it. Sometimes it's friendly, sometimes it's angry. There are some people who believe the sole purpose of the universe is to frustrate me, and whatever I do, it will figure out a clever way to frustrate and thwart me. And there are some people who believe the universe is friendly. Most of us believe that the universe is neither friendly nor unfriendly. It doesn't know I exist and couldn't care less. It's indifferent. Sometimes the universe seems to be working with me, sometimes it seems to be against me, but essentially it's a random process. But what if you're wrong? What if the universe was aware of your existence and it was well disposed towards you? Well, friends don't shaft friends, do they? So if the universe was your friend, why does it give you stuff you don't want? You want to go travel and go on vacation, and the universe gives you pandemics and lockdowns. Why does the universe give you stuff you don't want? Well, what if the universe gives you stuff you don't want, but it's precisely what you needed for your learning and growth? Like you're a small child and you want a tub of ice cream, and your parents give you fruits and vegetables. And you don't want fruits and vegetables, you want a tub of ice cream. But the universe, through your parents, gives you fruits and vegetables. It isn't until you have a much level of maturity and understanding that you can say, thank God I got fruits and vegetables. What if the universe was exactly like that? It may not give you what you want, but it gives you exactly what you need for your learning and growth. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out, Rajiv, that regardless of whether or not the universe was friendly, if you believed the universe was friendly, your experience of life would improve dramatically.
Drastically.
And what if the universe actually was friendly? Then your life is transformed.
Mm.
And I'm inviting you to play around with this until you come to your personal conviction that the universe is friendly. I can't tell you the number of students I've had who said, Professor Rao, thank you so much. This has completely transformed every aspect of my life.
You know, Dr. Srikumar Rao, when someone's going to ask me, who's your best friend? I'll say the universe. They think it's a crazy answer, but it's the most
Yeah,
beautiful, honest answer, isn't it?
absolutely. Yes.
You know, you wrote your book, Modern Wisdom, Ancient Roots. We in India are trying to get maximum access to it. It's doing well, it's doing extremely impactful. Modern Wisdom, Ancient Roots. Let me modernize this and ask you a simple question, sir. Let's go into this part of modern techniques and ancient emotions.
Mhm.
Things have changed so much, whether we like it or not. So, modern techniques, but ancient emotions. For example, love. We all have been there. We've been beaten there. We have grown there. We have developed there. We've been destructed there. Before, love had a very different meaning. It had a process, it had patience. Today, it has a couple of swipes. We break up or we break down, you know? Talk to me about that. Is this the modern technique of the ancient emotion acceptable or not? I'm not asking whether you agree with it or not because you'll say, I haven't felt it. According to you, would Ramana Maharishi and the other sages see this and say, what's going on? Or say, that's smart, you're saving time? How would that be, sir?
That is a good question. How would Ramana Maharshi say? I don't think it would have changed what he said at all. He would have continued saying, hey, who is it who is doing the swiping? Inquire into that. And he would have been absolutely right. What has happened with technology, Rajiv, and there's a flip side and a plus side to both of those. It's simply accelerated the process.
Mm.
In the old days, if you wanted to go on a date, you went out to bars or singles clubs, or you hit upon your friends who knew persons who could potentially be dates for you and ask them to introduce you and so on.
Mm.
These days, you go to a half a dozen internet sites, fill up your profile, go on, and the process is just accelerated. But the principle is exactly the same. And the longing, and this is what I want, and the misguided thinking that this will make me complete. I am unhappy, I'm incomplete, and what I really need to make my life complete is this person who will bring me happiness. Nothing and nobody will bring you happiness, because happiness is inside you. What you're doing is you're running away from it. Our Upanishads tell us, Purnamadam, Purnamidam, you are complete. You have always been complete. From completeness comes completeness. But you don't recognize that, so you're always looking outside for something. Now, you've heard many of my podcasts, so you've doubtless heard this story, but perhaps your listeners haven't, so let me relate that.
Oh.
There was a man in faultless evening clothes. He was searching desperately under a lamp, and a jogger goes by. And the jogger circles around and says, "Hey, you seem to be troubled. Something the matter?" And the man says, "I dropped my car keys." So jogger says, "No problem. I'll help you find it." And he searches diligently. And after a while, he says, "Look, I've searched this area pretty thoroughly. There are no car keys here. Where did you drop them?" And the man says, "I dropped them there." And the jogger is understandably annoyed, and he says, "Well, why the hell are you searching here if you dropped them there?" And the man says, "Well, it was dark there and there's light here, so I thought I'd search here." And everybody laughs. It's a good joke. But that's what we're doing. We have a sense of not being complete, we have a sense of lack, and we say, "Oh, I know what I have to do. I have to find a girlfriend or a boyfriend, or I have to build up my business. I have to get a bigger house. I have to get a better car. And, this will hit." Not true. You're making the same mistake. You're dropping your keys here and you're searching for it there. Remember, here's something I would like all of your listeners to know, Rajiv. You cannot solve an internal problem with external action. You cannot solve an internal problem with external action. And that's what we are desperately trying to do. And what technology has given us is more and faster methods of external action. But the principle holds: you cannot solve an internal problem with external action.
Lovely. You cannot solve an internal problem with external action, but you can solve an external problem with internal action.
Accurate, yes.
No, because if you change the way you perceive it, the change the way you react to it, the way you look at it, the way it affects you, then you
Yes,
solve the problem by not even bothering or not even caring too much. Is that right, sir?
exactly correct. You've got to have a understanding that perhaps the problem doesn't exist at all. Let me tell
Hmm.
you a story. I'm pretty sure you haven't heard this story, even though you've heard many of my
You're
podcasts.
putting a hardcore fan at test. Okay, ready.
So there was this bus driver who went on a particular route, and some of the route took him through places which were not very safe. And there's this great big burly beefy guy, who'd be the classic casting for hoodlum and gangster, and really big, well built, unshaven, and he'd look at the driver and say, "Big Al is not going to buy a ticket," and go and sit down. And the bus driver, couldn't do anything. He went on, and this kept happening. And finally, the bus driver got fed up. So, what the hell is this? So he enrolled in a very good karate dojo, and he practiced diligently. And in a year or so, he passed through the various levels. And finally, he got to a black belt stage, and he could break a brick with his bare hand in a karate motion. And finally, he felt ready. So he goes on the route, and this guy comes up and says, "Big Al is not going to buy a ticket." And he says, "Yeah? Why is Big Al not going to buy a ticket?" And he says, "Because Big Al has a monthly pass." So before you start solving a problem, Rajiv, make sure that you have a problem to solve. Did I get you on that one? You're not heard that
Lovely.
one?
No, that was lovely. I haven't heard that one. So this one is 101% worth it. Lovely. Of course, that's such a nice one. So basically, you think it's a problem and you go all out finding the solution. There's no problem at all. Analyze the situation before you think it's a problem.
Made exactly correct. What you should understand, Rajiv, is we talked earlier about is the universe friendly and the
Yes.
universe is friendly.
Yes, sir.
But not only is the universe friendly, but you are dancing with the universe. And when you're dancing with the universe, if you lead differently, the universe doesn't have a choice but to follow differently.
Fantastic.
That is something that you have to get in. When you lead differently, the universe does not have a choice but to follow differently.
I
So,
asked you this.
make a change outside, begin with what's between your ears.
Lovely. It's all in the mind. And I've heard this saying, I'm sure you have. Everything in life happens twice. Once in your mind and second time in front of your eyes. That's the power of what your thoughts are. It could be positive, it could be negative.
In
You
fact, I
know,
want to leave your readers with a very powerful thought.
please, sir.
Everything that exists in the world at one time was a thought in someone's head. The headphones that you're using, the computer in front of which you are, the chair on which you're sitting, the World Trade Center, the leveling of the World Trade Center, everything at one time was a thought in someone's head. So you want to become a zillionaire, you want to be the most successful entrepreneur, it's a thought in your head. It is your job to nurture it, to feed it emotional energy, and one day it will be born because it has to be born.
Mm,
You're the midwife. Your job is to manage the birthing process, and your job also is to feed and nurture the embryo and make sure that what you are germinating and nurturing is a healthy creature.
absolutely stunning. So if your thoughts can make life, not your life, but the life of so many people, make sure you know what you're thinking, control your thoughts. And my final question to you, Dr. Srikumar Rao, as we run out of time and you have a very busy schedule, you made, when I said about romance and swiping and all of that, you made love sound so unromantic. You're like, it's all within you, it's all you, it's you. You have a crazy streak to you. No matter what philosophy you speak, there is this madness, there is this craziness, there is this illogical side. Creative, of course; logical, of course; practical, yes; successful, yes; happy, yes; peaceful, yes; but mad also, crazy also, foolish also, stupid also. So I want to ask you, what's the craziest thing you've done? And today, when you look back at it, maybe you feel a bit embarrassed, or maybe you feel that was a great phase of life as well. It's the craziest thing Dr. Srikumar Rao has done. It goes on record now.
One of the craziest things I've ever done, this is back when I was in Delhi University and I went to St. Stephen's College in Delhi University. And Aradhna had just released, and
Of
there
course,
was this
Rajesh Khanna.
poster of Sharmila Tagore right in front of that. And a friend of mine and I, in the middle of the night, broke off that poster. And we had this gigantic face of Sharmila Tagore. And we carried it to the top of St. Stephen's College and put it on the steeple there. And we left. Unfortunately, we did not have a camera with flash, so I was unable to capture photography. I wish I had an iPhone in those days. That would have been so
But you lived
cool.
the moment. You lived the
Oh,
moment, sir.
absolutely. And
Was that your last day in
that's
college?
fun doing it, huh?
Was
What's
that
that?
your last day in college?
No, no,
They
it
didn't
was a
send you out
video.
after that? They didn't
What's that?
dismiss you. They didn't dismiss you after that.
They would have if they had known who did it. But we were we did some things which I'm not very proud of
Proud
now,
of.
which is on the way down there. There were a number of lamps, internal ones, and we broke the bulbs of all of those lamps. That would have been very expensive. So it's vandalism, pure and simple. As I said, I regret that part. But at that time, it seemed like a good idea because we needed the darkness to carry that. It wasn't a cloth poster, it was on plywood. So it was quite
Understood.
heavy. And,
Yeah.
the two of us could barely manage it. And getting it up those flights of stairs in the back, it is really tough. But it seemed like this is the thing to do.
Exactly.
So,
Were you
yeah,
singing Mere Sapno Ki Rani
no,
Kab
no
Aayegi?
noise.
Sir, I'll tell you what, that's the beauty of life, isn't it? As you are working on yourself, you enjoyed that phase, you grew, you evolved, you learned, you experienced, and today
At
you
that
share.
time, I was not working on myself, Rajiv, at least not with awareness.
If that little boy Sri Kumar can become Dr. Sri Kumar Rao, if he starts working on himself, if there's a zest and desire to live your best life, then I think all of us pick a leaf from this wonderful tree that you are leaving behind, sharing with us, showing us. And as you say, modern wisdom, ancient roots, we're saying modern Dr. Sri Kumar Rao, please come back to your roots of India. We cannot wait to have you here. Speak to the people directly, have words, have seminars, discuss with them, debate with them, and we'll decide together. I really, honestly, truly tell the universe to ensure that you have a visit to India and keep Chennai as a hotspot for you, sir.
Make it happen. We'll make it happen. And if I come to Chennai, you'll take me to where the best masala dosas in Chennai are.
That's a guarantee. I'll tell the universe for sure, and I'll be your driving force. Thank you very much,
Okay.
Dr. Sri Kumar Rao. I've had a zillion interviews. This one is unforgettable. It's learning, it's loving, it's life. Thank you very much, Dr. Sri Kumar Rao. It's an honor. It's unforgettable.
My pleasure. Thank you, Rajiv. I must tell you, from my perspective, I thought it was a fantastic interview.
This is Chennai Live, Radio Redefined.